Have you ever felt that the night itself is alive? That darkness isn't just the absence of light, but the breath of something ancient, something hungry. I learned this on the night I decided to enter the house that everyone tried so hard to keep quiet about. The house stood at the edge of the forest, as if forgotten by everyone. Its walls were covered in moss, the windows boarded up, but inside it was alive. I knew this even before I crossed the threshold. At first silence, but it wasn't ordinary silence. It pressed down, as if the air had grown thick. Each of my steps sounded too loud, as if I was breaking rules I didn't know. I walked into the living room. Old photographs lay on the table. The people in them were smiling, but their eyes were empty, as if they weren't looking at the photographer, but straight at me. I felt a chill run down my skin. I picked up one photograph. It showed a family, a man, a woman, and a child. But when I blinked, the child's face disappeared. Only an empty white mask remained. I dropped the photograph and heard a sound quiet, like a whisper. It came from the hallway. I went there. The floorboards creaked, and each step echoed. But the echo was strange. It didn't repeat my steps, it added new ones. I was walking alone, but I could hear someone walking beside me. I stopped. The steps continued. The flashlight trembled in my hand. I pointed it into the darkness and saw a door. It was slightly ajar. I pushed it open and entered the room. It was a child's room. Drawings on the walls. Sun, house, people. But the people's faces were crossed out. A doll lay on the floor. I picked it up and heard laughter. A child's laughter, but empty, cold. The doll opened its eyes. I dropped it. It fell, and its head turned on its own. Its eyes were staring straight at me. I wanted to leave, but the door behind me closed. I didn't hear it slam. I went further. In the corner of the room stood a closet. I opened it and saw a mirror inside, but it was strange. The reflection showed not me, but someone else, a tall figure with red eyes. I closed the closet, but the mirror remained open, and the figure took a step toward me. I stepped back, but my legs wouldn't obey. It was as if the house was holding me. And then I heard a voice. It sounded right in my head. You came here on your own. You wanted to prove you weren't afraid. Now you'll stay forever. I screamed, but my scream was swallowed by the silence. I ran down the stairs, but the stairs didn't end. I kept running and running, but the steps continued. The house had changed. It was no longer a house. It had become a labyrinth. The walls were closing in, the corridors shifting. I heard footsteps behind me. They were getting closer. I stopped, and the footsteps stopped too. But the breathing, I could hear breathing right by my ear. I turned around and saw a shadow. It was taller than a person. Its outline blurred, but its eyes burned red. I closed my eyes, and everything disappeared. But when I opened them again, I was no longer in the house. I was standing in the forest. The trees stretched upward like claws. The night was dark, and I could hear someone walking behind me. But when I turned around, I saw only emptiness. I understood. The house hadn't let me go. It had taken me inside itself. Now I was part of it. And then I heard whispering. It was everywhere. Hundreds of voices spoke at once. I couldn't make out the words, but I knew they were calling me. I walked forward. The forest was endless, but every step brought me back to the house. I could see its silhouette between the trees. It was always nearby. I understood. There was no way out. And then I heard laughter. A child's laughter. It was right behind me. I turned around and saw a child. But its face was empty, white, like a mask. It reached out its hand to me. I wanted to step back, but my legs wouldn't obey. I took its hand and the world disappeared. I found myself back in the house. In the living room. Photographs lay on the table. I picked one up and saw myself. I was standing in this house, with empty eyes. I understood. I had become part of the story. Now I am one of those who disappeared. And if you think this is just a story, look around you. Sometimes the silence around you isn't emptiness. It's someone's gaze. And if you hear footsteps in the dark when you're alone, Don't try to convince yourself it's your imagination, because one day, those footsteps will stop right behind you, and then it will be too late.